And now, Napalm Death. The band's new lineup has recently been changed, and here is their first interview since the arrival of a new vocalist and guitarist. You'll probably jump to the conclusion that they're all from Birmingham, and you'll be wrong. Jesse, the guitarist, happens to be from the USA. It's just that, well, he didn't say anything. Fortunately, the other three did.
And the other two guys, which is Barney, the new vocalist, and Jesse, the new guitarist, can play death metal, something Bill and Lee never wanted to play.
Yeah, right.
Bill wanted to play it, but didn't want to play it in Napalm Death. He thought Napalm Death should carry on being a basic band with just 2 riffs per song, 20-second, 30-second songs. Why should they progress? Why should, they should stop that way? Bill just wanted to do that with Carcass, but basically Carcass are the Gary Anderson Sonics. That's what they call it, Carcass, the Gary Anderson Sonics.
Basically, it comes down to the fact that, because Bill had 2 bands, he was doing everything he wanted to in Carcass.
Yeah.
And so in Napalm, it was sort of like, when me and Mick would say, well, this song we wanted to have a few more riffs, we wanted to be longer.
He wouldn't want to do it.
Say, well, you sure that's the direction Napalm should go? And we'd say, well, we think so, because we've done 2 albums of short songs, we can't do any more. And he wouldn't want to do that, basically, because he was doing it with Carcass. So really, in a way, it's good that he left, because now we can...
It's like, now we can play what we want to play.
Yeah, I read this
death metal grindcore, if you want to put it to that way.
You don't feel restricted anymore, you can sort of you can choose what you want to do.
Everyone in the band's dedicated now, whereas before it wasn't.
And also certain things he wanted to do, like leave because of his own ideals and stuff, he wouldn't.
Yeah, Lee had ideals and would be against something.
Talk about your own personal sort of politics and stuff, but basically, sort of restrict the band in doing what he wanted to do.
I think he saw your way as a sort of more commercial approach. I read the thing in the NME, and he thought your approach was more commercial.
That's what he thought.
Is that fair comment?
I mean, as a way of making a living out of it, yeah, maybe. But I mean,
do you want to make a living out of it?
Because the fact is, that's like the music.
Nothing's changed. It's got damn sight more fucking brutal.
We know we can become bigger doing what we want to do, basically. But I mean, what's wrong with that really? What is the problem in doing that? I mean, the fact is okay, he's saved his face now. He's in with his fellow friends. You think, oh yeah, it was a good move to leave Napalm. They were getting far too capitalist or whatever, or far too trendy. And so you've saved your ideals by leaving the band. But basically, in a few months' time, when he's skint and he's not got no money, and then he starts moaning, well,
what's going to be crawling back, is he?
I'm not saying we're in Napalm.
No, we're not just there for the money, but you've got to see, these people have got to understand that, a band of our size and popularity, there's nothing wrong with us taking money. When a promoter at the door is pulling in 1,000 people and he's taking a big load of money, what is wrong with us taking some money at the end of that gig when we've worked hard to do it? Lee didn't see it that way. Lee could carry on playing gigs for £30 a night, and well, you're just getting nowhere. You're going backwards.
Napalm have been around a long time, and they played. When I first went Napalm, they did a year of gigs, something like 80 gigs with not one penny. And that was in Newcastle and places like that.
I used to travel all over the place.
So what's the point in getting? What's wrong with getting something back for a change?
Well, you can't do it in the end because your money flows.
You've got to live.
You can't do.
How long do you think you've had these sort of more commercially successful arrangements?
It's been growing bigger and bigger, every bloody few months, every 3 months.
What really made me sort of laughing away is the fact that he was so against it. And we played Austria a few months back, and we paid £2,000
I think. Hotel for 2 nights, flights paid, plus for 4 guests to come along, food and all drinks.
Lee didn't sit there and say, well, it's against my ideals, give the money to...
He saw there was £500 there for each of us. Yeah, do it, I need some money. So, where did his ideals come from?
They got us mixed up. They thought we were basically money motivated, which is not the case. But money is an essential part of life, basically. So there you go.
It's sort of nothing comes free, doesn't it? That's one thing, especially in the music industry.
You've got to live.
As I say, if there's a gig there that you're going to pack out, there's nothing wrong with taking money at the end.
Because also all the rehearsing and things you put in before, concert and stuff like that.
All our money goes back into the band anyway.
We have to pay for new equipment all the time.
We've been rehearsing here for 3 weeks.
Travelling around, paying for rehearsals.
This past 3 weeks travelling has cost me about £90. I live 40 miles away, so it's really hard to get back and forth.
Yeah.
So you put half the time you put in what you get out of it.
And now that the band have got that off their chest, they continue to explain the category of music that Napalm Death are labelled as.
Well, not hardcore. It's definitely not hardcore.
It may have started out hardcore a while ago.
So how is it actually different then?
Well, from hardcore.
How does commercial sound different? That say Lee talks about commercial sound. How's it
commercial? But there is no commercial saying full stop.
This music will never be commercial.
It's in his head that's a commercial sound. Basically because we want to slow down, do the occasional really fast, fast beats.
Oh, the fast beat will always be there because it's not Napalm Death.
But what we want to do is try different rhythms and longer songs, experiment, but still keep it within the extreme side. His commercial sound is really his head territory. I mean, as for hardcore, hardcore's always been an attitude, never a music, in my personal opinion.
So it's not a thing that the people out there are looking for, not a particular thing. You don't think they're after one sort of sound and you want another?
Well, you look at the album styles.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. All I can say is that we do what we do and we sell, so whatever.
Yeah. Right. Would you advise a 10-year-old kid to come to one of your gigs?
If he wants to, if he's chuffed about it, it's up to him.
I don't know. I mean,
anybody can have a dust from any age.
I mean, my friend's band, the drummer, his father's 54 years old and he loves Napalm. And he regularly goes to gigs.
John Peel,
His favourite Max on the cheeky choice.
Yeah, I remember Max. Yeah. I mean, it's any age really. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'd say if you're sort of like pretty weak at heart kind of thing, I wouldn't exactly advise you to
just
go
stay
down
to the back, just don't get down the front.
It's just for maniacs at the front.
I remember seeing you on Arena, and you could see that at the front everyone was, really going with the music.
I mean, we played with DRI and some kid broke his nose and broke his arm as well.
Yeah, I heard.
So,
right.
Pretty violent.
Okay, what, if anything, would you say you had in common with, there are these popular bands such as, I hate to say it, some Guns N' Roses, Poison, and you actually are branded as heavy metal.
Yeah, but I mean, that's it. Heavy metal can stretch from like the most wimpiest sort of band to the most extreme band, I mean, whatever.
Would you feel bitter about that, or doesn't it bother you?
It doesn't bother me as such.
Bother me at all, really.
Probably bothers them that a band such as is linked with them, probably, but it doesn't bother me. Really, I don't really get worried about the situation.
Okay.
That's for Poison, a lot of bollocks.
Yeah, I agree with that.
We heard about this row with Sore Throat that took place.
Well,
how much did you really hate them?
Don't really. It's nothing. It's nothing.
It's
really.
nothing from our side. I mean, it's just.
It's more their side.
It's the old anarcho things of kicking people until they fucking realise that It's. I mean, the new Sore Throat LP thing. All the arguments are finished now as far as the press is concerned. There's been nothing in the press for ages.
We never
look at the new
argued
Sore
there,
Throat LP. It's got a lot of things like sort of not direct sort of statements, but sort of pictures on the LP that says anti-Napalm sort of. The title.
I mean, why? I mean, I don't know. There's got to be something mentally wrong with someone just to persist in just childishly sort of like and Napalm this, Napalm that. What's the big deal? I don't think anybody else gives a shit about it apart from Rich Militia and his little circle of followers. That's about it. Nobody else. The press they saw it months ago.
For a movement that's sort of into non-aggression and fucking doing things peacefully. I mean, sending shit through the post and obviously phone calls at
so they started it
3 and 4 o'clock in the morning.
We never started it.
Complete bollocks.
The thing is, see, we don't really mess about with anybody, but the fact is, like, they'll start it, and we happen to have a violent nature, and we will finish it.
Yeah, on the tour, we've already been forewarned that the tour buses at some stage going to be smashed up by fucking loads of anarcho Sore Throat types. We'll be waiting with baseball bats.
Well, we've got baseball bats.
I mean, in London, like, one of some Sore Throat fans like this goes, "Why don't you wise up and stop making money?" I goes, "Well, if it means living like you, basically, basically, because." He's like a piece of shit, and he's like fucking totally wrecked. His health was like.
Because are you the same record company?
Well, one of the albums came out, but then again, look at Sore Throat. Basically, they got 4 albums out using Napalm as basically as a publicity stint. Anyway, they're selling records off the back of Napalm, if anything, probably.
Yeah.
And Rich is there trying to say he's not into making money. Well, maybe not, but I mean, he's using Napalm in some form or other to his benefits.
Sort of like he's making an album at sort of your expense really by criticising Napalm and everything like that. Yeah. Just to get.
I mean, it happens with every band. I mean, like Metallica got a backlash, Slayer got a backlash.
Yeah,
every band gets a backlash. It's like once you get to like a level of a success, there's always somebody who'll turn around and just fucking put you down because basically it's jealousy more than anything else. Probably.
Do you want your music to have any political repercussions, and if so, have they been successful? Anything you like?
As far as I know, I mean,
you expect to change, but I should
What can you change with words? Not like how not being ignorant or anything.
You can protest and make your fucking point across, but you know, a band is basically not going to change nothing. I mean, to the biggest bands such as Simple Minds and all their influence, whatever their
Hard-eyed and everything,
do not change.
I think it's probably the politician's sort of view that with people like Simple Minds, they're like 5 people saying, you know, become green or...
People may sing the lyrics through the head, but they ain't going to go out, you know, fucking, I don't know, do what to change something drastically, you know.
Yeah, but is it your sort of...
It's the Gary Johnson band!
This is me having a bit of a mad one and it's fucking microphone standing. But, as far as I know, I mean, like the last 2 Napalm albums, basically, it's like people haven't got anything from the lyrics, basically, because they couldn't understand what the fuck was going on anyway. But I mean, they're more interested in the music, really.
We'd all love to live in a better world with fucking, you know, where people could live fucking safe and shit, but it just won't happen.
For a group to have any political influence, you have to be able to actually understand their lyrics. We put this point to the band.
You can't understand lyrics until now, basically, because you can understand everything he says.
Yeah.
I mean, Lee, you know, I don't know, Lee.
So there is going to be more in the lyrics?
Yeah, there will.
Well, yeah, there'll be more lyrics, but you'll be able to understand. I mean,
You'll be able to.
basically, I mean, to be blunt, even when we used to rehearse, I could never understand what he was saying. At the beginning of this week, when we started rehearsing, I was shocked for 15 minutes because I actually heard the lyrics for the first time, so I didn't know Napalm Death.
Did he actually say anything with the, or was it
what
shouts and things? Because it's always intriguing.
Basically, choruses and stuff like that. Album he would.
Yeah, album obviously.
But it's like, if you read his lyrics, it's so bloody, I don't know what's the word, complex. It's like, there's no possible way, if you know Lee as I know Lee, that you could ever remember all them words, because the man's on blow every day, he's fucked out of his tree, do you know what I mean? The bloke is just not, he's not on earth half the time, so how could he possibly, you know, not criticise him anyway, because I mean...
It's like, I mean, in the cover I did at school, you just, you suffer but why, it's just like that, you know. It's all, because, I mean, I thought there must be lyrics.
Because you can't avoid that, because the length of time you got from music, you can't actually get any more in, you know what I mean? There's no humanly possible. But as for the longest songs, Lee just used, as far as the impression I always had, Lee just, he'd write a set lyrics, and then after that he'd just vary out live. People wouldn't take any notice of it.
It's just not on their mind at all, is it?
I mean, the thing is, if you want to, like, I mean, he's always like saying, "Oh, metalers, man, they're not paying attention to what's going on, and like they're fucking dickheads all there for the music. Just, you know, they're not interested in the lyrics." The fact is, if he felt that strong about it before each song, and I've seen bands do this, in depth he'd say what this song is about and what he felt. He never did that. He'd go moan before each song and then go into it.
I read the Your Enemy interview you had a while ago, and you mentioned that really famous picture, you know, where the Vietnamese girls sort of running down the road. I just wondered whether it's sort of, your name was sort of like a protest against the conflict.
I suppose probably when it was like thought up by the original bass player, I suppose it was, maybe. I don't know. As like my feelings about it, to me it's just like an aggressive name. It's like it's the band's saying about it.
Feels like quite hard hitting.
Yeah, I mean, you couldn't forget it easily, really, could you?
It's pretty catchy, I suppose.
Right, is there any sort of non-grindcore or hardcore music that influenced you?
Not musically, but I mean, as for like bands that we listen to, yeah, I listen to all sorts. It's like, I mean, basically, Barn listens to just like death metal at all. That's just, you know, thrash metal, death metal. That's all he really listens to. Me and Mick and Jess listen to all sorts of bands. Yeah. It's like you could give you the list which would just go on forever and ever.
Anything from Repulsion Master, from Rush to All About Eve.
I mean, Peel likes things that are totally sound and nothing like Napalm Death.
Yeah, because I mean, on this show we'll play, say, Napalm Death and a guy called Gerald, you know, maybe straight after each other or something.
Well, yeah, but it's like just varied taste. I mean, I think a lot of people are coming.
Why do you think the Pearl show is so successful?
I mean, in coming years, I think you'll find a lot of people with like varied tastes. I mean, if I can have a varied taste in music, I'm sure somebody else can.
People seem to moan about, you know, Napalm, but you never hear us really moaning about fucking other sorts of music. If you can respect one thing, you can respect another thing. You know, Although some music just fucking working me so much, I must say.
Yeah.
Yes, Kylie, Jason and co seem to have cropped up in yet another of our interviews.
They can't be too much inside their head because they listen to the same fucking beat in every song that comes out. It's like the same song, the same.
Do you think there's anything in those people that would like Napalm Death? Maybe they're more than
I'm sure there's few.
They're not even giving themselves.
They wouldn't know
time to
Napalm Death,
associate, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Really,
I'm sure
just
there's,
Kylie and that lot
there's
sort
bound
of
to be somebody around somewhere who's happens to be his taste happens to be as diverse as Napalm, like Jason Donovan perhaps. I mean, there's bound to be some idiot like that maybe, but I mean, fair enough, that's true.
A lot of people expect you to have nasty intentions while recording or performing, just because of the name and everything. Are they misunderstanding you, or is there any truth in it?
Well, if anyone can accept a massive candle screw in the air and a massive squawk in the bass, and that's fine, you know.
Now we don't go on the deadly, what is it, what did you say, violent intentions?
Violent intentions towards the crowd.
Yeah. I mean, I must admit I do get a kick out of people diving around.
Yeah, I've seen that. It's sort of get onto the stage.
You like that? It's good.
Because the lead singer of Anthrax did that, didn't he? And so he's been doing it for 10 years, isn't it?
Oh, he's a bloody white guy, really.
The biggest injury he had, he was really boasting because the biggest injury he had was a chipped tooth or something.
I'm not into fucking, battering the head off.
Yeah.
No, people,
You're not pacifists.
Fuck that.
it depends if, I generally don't go out of my way to cause
Oh no,
trouble.
we don't agree that you've got to
People fuck about and they do get
around and they're going to
butted,
get it.
and it's, you know.
You know what I mean? They will go for the 1-2, they go for the shine hair, you sure I mean? The talk and the butt.
Flying pterodactyl.
See, people have like, some kid in Belgium basically, even bad men,
I think it's
said
pterodactyl, I tell you, man.
one kid in Belgium said we went and beating up homosexuals and things like this. And so I confronted the bloke, he was at a loss for words, couldn't explain himself. I was there 15 minutes, I thought I've had enough. And I couldn't summon the strength of me to hit him, so I just left it to him and he just gave me a big butt and it was it.
Flying pterodactyl, I tell you, man.
That's what basically comes down to. There's a lot of people who say bad things, but when we like confront them, they just back away. Saying a bit commercially, backed away. He denied everything.
They can't stand up to what they fucking say.
Yeah, and when it comes sort of to the crunch, they
I
won't come out and say
I
it.
mean, as far as we are, we'll just say what we feel needs to be said, and we will say it to people's faces. If we're not happy, we'll tell them. But all this underhandedness, we don't do anybody any good.
Yeah. Do you know how long a song's going to be before you write it? Or has this changed since the new line?
Basically, I suppose.
I have no idea,
It's usually like, I don't know, me and Mick will come up with a song and like, it's generally whatever the length is when we finish it, that's it. Sometimes it might be added or whatever.
It took a while.
Yeah.
And how do you think it was producing that Yusuf of it wide, clocking in just over a second? Was that a really difficult task?
Just happened. Basically, if you got the mix for the song before, and you generally just keep the same.
Just do it, you don't really mix anything like that.
I mean, there's, just
Make sure the volume's
a
right.
lot of people don't understand about that song, and like another song we've got called Dead is that, I mean, Yusuf for a while has got like 3 actual notes in it, and Dead has got 5, which people don't know, which you just go, you don't.
Yeah.
It's more to
Yusuf is like 5th fret to 3rd to 6th.
That's it.
Anything else that we haven't touched on you want to say?
Oh yeah.
I'd just like to say,
Check out the Gary Anderson band.
thumbs up to all the bloody death metalers everywhere.
And now for something that sounds just like Napalm Death.
Letter to Nobody's exciting to me.
The Librarians, and that was called Letter to a Dead Film Star. If you send them £1, you'll get a demo tape from them. See out in the sleeve for the address. Now for that bit that seems to appear at the end of every fanzine. Yes, it's a bit about other fanzines. Somewhere in Newcastle, a rather annoying little organisation is growing into a bloated mixture of paper and yucky flexible vinyl. I often used to wonder what kept the massive crowds happy at St James's Park as the Magpies struggled helplessly at the wrong end of Division 1. One thing that I am sure of is that they had a hugely more convincing explanation than anyone tried to justify the hideous fact that an issue of Whoosh sells virtually more copies than any other fanzine. Whoosh organises a club in Newcastle, the Broken Doll. Most of the bands that popped in recently were subjected to a flat interview that was in turn churned out to form Whoosh No. 3. The process has got more in common with a factory producing those artificial looking sausages than that required to produce a stimulating music publication. In issue 3, one comment about the sperm whales reads,
"The sperm whale demands your attention and repays you with their thumping noise."
Whoosh demands your money and fails to repay you. In the glossy package you also get Acoustics Fanzine. Yes, a fanzine. Sounds nice, but it's about as funny as a 2-year-old girl being suffocated in her bag. This is about the best advert that they could hope to ask for, but to anyone who hasn't already bought it, buy these first. Sorry, but we have to be hard sometimes, lads.
Spasm is a rapidly mobile zine. Its interviews include The Spaceman 3, That Petrol in Motion, Perfect Disaster, and Loop. It's well worth getting, and it's an interesting read. A Whirl and Crocodile Ride flexi is included.
Oh Tom, you've forgotten the cartoons.
Ah yes, the cartoons. Well, I'm sure you'll like them. It's just me.
And now,
What colour are your pyjamas?
this is refreshing stuff, all by Mark from the Librarians. It includes a wedding present interview.
Yeah, I think they're in a better mood than they were for us.
Yes, and there's also lots of other bits and pieces, a strong Smith influence, and Richard Whitmore on the cover. You also get a definite article flexi. Precious. The groups who owe the writer a favour here include the Field Mice, the Springfields, the Sidleys, and lots of others. There's a Wild House interview. Well, as I don't agree with everything said, it's all very readable. Yeah, that's true. Oh, and don't forget the flexi.
Oh, the flexi. Well, I sent off for one, and I was the 101st buyer out of only 100 printed. Fantastic Life. This is jam-packed with stuff and includes interviews with Shrug, Thrilled Skinny, Field Mice, Dispoison, and Bogshed.
Yeah, there is lots to read, and its sheer bulk made mine burst through the staple within 1 day of ownership.
It never gets boring, and as for the icing on the cake,
It's from Bradford.
rather predictably, there's also a flexi featuring Shrug and Archbishop Kebab.
Far out and fishy. The layout and colour printing makes this the most aesthetically pleasing fanzine that I've seen. Mind you, even if it was printed on a rotting rabbit carcass, it would still be an absolute must.
Well, maybe not, but you get Daniel's message.
It is well written and totally honest. Chris Fish is not content putting in a flexi to confuse us. He had to go one step further and make the artist's name impossible to pronounce. Well, I can tell you one of the bands. They're called East Village. To find out the other, you better go out and buy the thing.
The Cymbeline Music Fanzine. This is an entertaining and rather unconventional zine. It contains band biographies and plenty of piss-taking. Issue 8 contains things on the Reading Festival, Egg Records, and the Pale Saints and the Fat Tulips. Issue 9 is in the pipeline. All issues are free, so just send an SAE.
Pop Watch. This impressive mag is nothing like a 20-minute slot on children's BBC, as the title suggests.
Yes, it does.
Interesting interviews with Boston's best are included, as well as an excellent feature on the Manchester scene. Although it has been put together in the USA, it shares a lot of the best British attributes. It is free and will only cost the price of an SAE across the Atlantic.
Please note that all issues we have reviewed are the latest issues at the time of mixing, and since then copies may have run out. In spite of this, we strongly recommend that you write off and keep the independent aircraft carrier afloat.
All the addresses that you need are printed on the inner sleeve.
Well, that's all from Frightening Verse 2. Tom's a bit annoyed I got all the letters last time, so why not write to him with your ideas and criticisms? If it's anything to do with the administrative shit, or those orders for next issue, etc., then still use my address. If you want to write to Lee, well, just write to Tom, because Lee hasn't got a post box. My address is 8 Greaves Close, Warwick, CV 34 6LU. Tom's address is 27 Braywick Road, Maidenhead, Berks, SL6 IBN.